this is StichRulez, and I wanted to talk about a card that's going to be released very soon called Shady from the Forbidden Fantastic Show box set in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links and rushduel format. Its effect is when your opponent normal or special summons a monster during their turn, send one card from your hand to the graveyard. Then you can change up to two face-up effect monsters on the field to face-down defense position. Then, if you change a monster on your opponent's field with 2600 or more original attack to face down defense position by this effect, gain 1500 life points. Well, we finally got a trap card that basically it's not limited, so you can have 3 copies, and it's not legend, so you can have again more than one copy. And this is something that, especially with how fast-paced the format is in rushduel, we really do need a trap card that kind of puts powerful fusion deck themes into check, or if you're going against mirror matches where your opponent can definitely counteract with you with fusion monsters. This card is extremely powerful, and with that, it puts a lot of pressure on the opponent, because as you know, fusion monsters need to be face up to even get to their fusion mechanics, unless they're utilizing the polymerization spell card, which is a legend card. So this either can basically put a Book of Moon or Book of Eclipse type effect onto the field, and it can prevent opponents from fusing. Or if the opponent does somehow fuse with the 2 monsters, you can still flip that 1 card face down. So it offers very much all the versatility that you need, because there's no attack or defense stat requirement or level requirement for this to be active. It's pretty much active 95% of the time when you're playing against matches, unless you're so far behind on the board state and it's very late stage of the game, then yeah, maybe so. But most of the time, this is going to go off at some point during the match, and it's very important because the pace of rushduel format is extremely fast, and on top of that, you get 1500 additional life points if that monster was changed to 26 or more original attack to face down position. Note that 2600 attack requirement to get the 1500 life points, it has to be your opponent's card. So you can't use it on, like, say, if you were trying to play defense you change up to 2 face-up monsters on your side of the field. If you had like 2 big heavy attack monsters and flip your own cards face down to get the 1500 life points, that would be pretty cool, but that would be a little bit over the top, and that it would probably be limited instantly, because you can pretty much do a lot of shenanigans with that. If you think about it, you can modulate the life point counter so much easier. But the 1500 life points only is granted if you utilize your opponent's monsters, and that monster is over 2600 or attack. So it offers the versatility to be able to use your opponent's field monsters or your monsters. Because think about it. Say if it may come into a good board state where your opponent just fusion summoned a monster. This is a hypothetical situation, and they're going to OTK you, but you want to have monsters for whatever reason on your fields, and you want that monster that is attacking on your opponent's side of the field to be face up. So you can flip your own monsters down after they normal or special summon, and then you can just block the OTK attack, and you basically allowed to live another turn, and you have your opponent's monster wide open for the follow-up plays that you're about to do. The fact that you can do your own monsters, flip them face down, is really, really good because it's almost in many ways better than compulsory evacuation device, and that's a trap card legend, and you can only have one card of that. This offers a lot more uh, abilities because the 1500 life points is a very nice bonus effect when you utilize your opponent's field. And again, you can use multiple cards, so that's very, very good. I mentioned this before. Curse of the Rising Light spell card also, I believe, is going to see a little bit more play because the situation requirements for that card to be active definitely plays into Shiny Shady in a way. Um, and your opponent has to have a card, or yourself, you have to have a card in your hand in order to activate Shiny Shady's effect. There's just that one caveat to making this card like a little bit situational, but enough where it's definitely going to have 2 to 3 copies in pretty much every single deck, unless your deck theme is completely trying to concentrate on OTKing and that's it. But I think in the higher tiers, like tier 1, tier 2, they're going to have, unless something drastically changes up to this point, most decks are going to use 2 to 3 copies, depending on their style of play and how they feel with the card in specific situations. I can understand people who would use 3 cards because this card is that good. And normally I wouldn't say this for trap cards because trap cards are slow in most ways, but this card is that good. I would not be surprised that people use 3. I would personally still stick to 2 because that's just my preference and when it comes to card ratios and stuff like that. But 3 is very understandable. I definitely understand that. And like I said, pay attention to Curse of the Rising Light in conjunction in situations where Shiny Shady is going to come into play, because you can bait Shiny Shady out, and then you can use Curse of the Rising Light. Curse of the Rising Light will be active, and then you can use Curse of the Rising Light to use its effect to get the draws. You can flip your opponent's monsters, vice versa, face down, face up, and it really does seem to play really well in the synergy of being able to do some counter plays. And when it's very much a predictable play, because if for instance your opponent has this card face down and they have one card in their hand, the chances of Shiny Shady being on the field, even if you don't know it, is highly likely. Of course, there is a bluff in that could happen, but the chances are very high because most players, depending on their deck theme, they set all their cards face down. So, but in this case, they might keep the card in their hand because Shiny Shady might be on the field. So that plays into a lot of different types of predictabilities that you can kind of navigate through, and being able to almost predict what certain cards, depending on how the toggle of the match is going, your toggle of your hourglass, and making sure you feel the pauses so you can understand what cards may be active, more cards won't be, and you can kind of get a feel to, okay, what this opponent is going to be doing with there's certain cards that are face down on the field. So the interaction with you and your opponent, with being able to utilize the toggle system with Shiny Shady, is going to be fun, but also like the strategy level, I think, also increases as well, with being able to kind of think deeply and critically think what cards are going to be on the field, so that way you can proceed and make the very much the strongest plays you can make with the cards that you have in your hand. So I like the strategy behind it. The fact that this card offers the versatility of being able to flip your opponent's face down cards, or your face down cards, face up cards to face down, is I like that very much, because we really needed something to prevent OTKs. And before, in some cases, you could play the best possible way, and if your opponent has the OTK, they have it. And I mean, no matter, when you're competing at the highest level, there's nothing to do. They have the out, and you just have to, give them a thumbs up for executing the right way. But this adds another level of depth, of versatility, defensibility, and strategy to the game, which I think is important, because OTKs are great and stuff, but you also need to have a mixture of different fine balances between the strategies of the game, to defend, to go into defense, to go to offense, to be able to navigate through utilizing the toggle, and being able to play your best with the cards that you have in your hand, and also think ahead what your opponent may be doing in the preceding turns. Also, with Shiny Shady being out, there's something also to keep in mind. I do believe back row destruction is going to be prevalent, and absolutely critical moving forward. I would not be surprised anywhere from 5 to 6 copies of spell and trap card removal will be indeed seen in a lot of deck lists, I believe, or monsters that destroy spell and trap card removal. So this card is going to be seeing competitive play for sure. I would not be surprised 2 to 3 copies in people utilizing this deck, utilizing this card in the deck consistently. And it's one of those cards that's going to be. It offers a lot of versatility, and the longevity of this card is going to last a long time, I believe, too, because the zones of Rush Duel are limited, and the fact that you can use offense to defense in so many different ways with this card is hands down one of the best trap cards, probably for a long time moving forward. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and thank you for taking the time to watch it, and I appreciate you guys' support. Again, try testing this card out. I believe you will be very satisfied in all the types of things that you can do with this card. All right, thanks for watching, and take care. Bye-bye.